Each of us has our issue, the problem that we worry most about. For me, it's global warming. For you, it might be healthcare or the collapse of our economy led by the collapse in Wall Street. This, for us, is the most important problem, the issue that Congress has got to address now before it gets on to any other issue. I get this. Each of these problems easily could be the most important problem the nation faces. But as I see this new administration coming to office with its promise of change, I'm beginning to feel something like an old man. I think back on the 5 other administrations I remember coming to office, each promising change, and I think that there's something important that we all need to recognize, that despite these promises of change, despite the promise to address the most important problem, these most important problems seem never to get fixed. That the machine designed to fix these problems, Congress, consistently, systematically fails to get things right. Even when what it's doing is otherwise good, it fails to get things right. So think, for example, about the most important piece of social legislation passed during the Bush administration, the Medicare Prescription Drug Improvement and Modernization Act of 2003. This was a $400 billion program, which ballooned quickly to a $523 billion program over 10 years, designed to provide low-cost prescription drugs to seniors. A massively expensive problem, passed no doubt for a good purpose. But why was it so expensive? In part because the law explicitly forbids the government from negotiating for lower prices from the drug companies. So while ordinary companies can buy in bulk and get the bulk price, our government can't, because lobbyists for big pharma succeeded in getting this gift to big pharma slipped into this otherwise good bill. Now the point is that we can see this same thing everywhere in what Congress addresses. Not because anybody in Congress wants to do the wrong thing, but because they can't focus on the right thing, because they are so obsessed with money. By which I don't mean money for themselves. I think the Randy Duke Cunninghams, or the Ted Tubes Stevens, or Rod Blagojevich are the exception or the exceptions in our system. They are not the rule. Instead, the obsession I mean is a focus on money for the purpose of getting themselves or their party reelected to power. And this turns out to be the one thing our Congress is pretty good at. If you look historically at the re-election rates, Congress is almost now perfect in guaranteeing that those who want to come back to Congress have an almost guaranteed right. They spend between 30 and 70% of their time raising money to get back to Congress. And they develop in that process a sixth sense. They come to recognize how what they do will affect their ability to raise money. And so this, their second job, raising money to get back to Congress, increasingly becomes their first job, making their first job, their job to us, increasingly a job that disappears. Now we need to recognize that there will be no change until we change this. That because of this obsession, this kind of dependency on money, we in the United States become increasingly skeptical, increasingly cynical about what our government does. In my district, 88% of the voters believe that money buys results in Congress, leading not surprisingly to the extraordinary statistic reported by Rasmussen last summer that 9% of America believes that Congress is doing a good or excellent job. There were probably more people who supported the British Crown at the Revolution than support our Congress today. Now we need to recognize that this is not going to change on its own. Not even a Barack Obama can change this alone. Instead, the only way that we're going to change this is if we can find a way to break the link between money and the laws Congress passes. And one way to break that link is an idea first proposed by a Republican president almost 100 years ago, Teddy Roosevelt's proposal for citizens' funding of the nation's elections. Updated a bit in light of the internet and Barack Obama, that's exactly what this proposal on change.org is. That either members get their money to run from citizens directly, in contributions of no more than $250 each, or they get their money from citizens indirectly, from funding supplied through our Treasury. Now, I've become convinced that the only way that we can break this link is this way. The only way we're going to break the link between the perception that money drives results is to adopt one form of this citizens' funding of the nation's elections. And if we did, we would give members of Congress the chance to restore their focus on what makes sense for the nation and not what raises dollars for their campaigns. And we would give Americans the opportunity to restore their trust in what government does. And we would do this by ending Congress's dependency on money, the dependency that defines what Congress is doing right now. Now, when we think of this idea of dependency, it suggests, I think, directly the problem that Congress faces. Because we all understand this problem of dependency. Think about dependency in our own lives. Think about the dependency that all of us know either directly or indirectly from alcoholism. And think about that alcoholic. The alcoholic might be losing his family, or his job, or his liver. And those, of course, are extremely important problems. Indeed, the most important problems a person can face. But what we all understand is that he will not solve those problems until he solves his alcoholism first. So the alcoholism is not the most important problem, it's just the first problem. And so too with us. There's no end to the problems that we as a nation face. Extraordinarily significant problems from global warming to this financial meltdown. But our Congress won't address these problems sensibly until we solve this first problem, our own dependency, the dependency of Congress on money, first. So, go ahead and vote for the most important problem that you believe we face as a nation. But recognize that there's another important problem too, this first problem. And vote for this first problem too. This is Lawrence Lessig with the Change Congress Movement at change-congress.org. Thanks very much.